Would you rather be sexy or rich?
That is, without a doubt, the most aggressive opening question we've ever had on a deep dive.
No, right? But I'm asking for a reason. It's the question from the source material we're covering today.
Ah.
And if we're being honest, most of us, even if we say we want to be rich, we act like we want to be sexy. We chase the hot stock tip, the crypto moonshot.
It's the thing that makes you sound smart at a dinner party.
Exactly. We want the story, not the result. All while completely ignoring the boring, unsexy stuff that actually builds wealth.
It's like the difference between looking like you work out and actually, lifting the heavy weights.
Yes. So, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are tackling a beast of a book. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi.
That title.
I know. I have to admit, when I first saw this title years ago, I thought it sounded like a late-night infomercial scam.
It does. It screams, get rich quick.
Yeah.
Or like something you'd see in a spam email next to hot singles in your area.
Right. But once you actually crack it open, you realize it's the opposite. It's get rich, slowly but surely.
Yeah, he's not selling some secret algorithm. He's offering a 6-week program that's all about psychology, finance, and a little bit of aggression.
And the mission for today is simple but bold. We want to help shift your mindset from feeling like a victim of the economy.
Inflation is eating me alive.
To being the CEO of your own life. We're going to unpack his system for automation, guilt-free spending, and building a financial machine that just runs itself.
And to do that, we have to start by redefining the word rich. Because in our culture, rich means like a guy in a monocle swimming in gold coins.
Scrooge McDuck. Or a private jet. A generic millionaire. But Sethi argues that rich is deeply personal. He gives these amazing examples. Like, he has one friend who spends $21,000 a year going out.
Which to the average financial guru, that's just heresy. The advice is always stop the avocado toast, stop going out, live like a monk.
Right. But Sethi's question is, does that make him happy? Yes. Is he saving for retirement? Yes. Are his bills paid? Yes. So who cares? If his rich life is being the guy who buys around at the bar and he can afford it, that's fine.
And then there's the other friend who lives in a tiny, tiny apartment.
A shoebox.
But she'll drop $300 on a pair of shoes without even blinking.
See, to some people, that looks like terrible priorities. But for her, the apartment is just a place to sleep. Fashion is her passion.
And that's the key takeaway. It's not about the dollars. It's about the intentionality. His whole philosophy is spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't.
That is just such a liberating idea compared to the usual don't buy lattes thing.
It is.
It's okay to buy the latte if that's your thing. You just can't have the latte in the expensive car in the huge house.
You can have anything, but you can't have everything. You have to choose. And that choice, that requires honesty, which is usually harder than the math.
Okay, so with that philosophy in mind, let's get into the mechanics. Sethi breaks us down into a 6-week journey. We'll hit the big pillars, starting with the one that terrifies people most.
Credit cards.
Segment 1, the credit card game. Optimization versus fear.
Yeah.
So there's this idea, this old school financial advice that credit cards are evil. Cut them up. Cash is king.
And look, I want to be nuanced here. If you truly have zero impulse control, maybe cutting them up is the right move for a little while. But for most people, Sethi argues that avoiding credit is a massive strategic error.
Okay, why? What are we missing out on if we just use a debit card?
3 things. First, consumer protection. If a merchant screws you over, the credit card company fights for you.
Right.
With a debit card. Good luck getting that cash back. Second is perks, cash back, warranties. But third, and this is the big one, you are missing out on building a credit score.
And that score is the single most important number in your financial life. He makes a huge deal about this.
It's staggering. A bad score doesn't just mean you get rejected for a loan. It means if you do get a mortgage, you're paying a way higher interest rate.
Which over 30 years.
Could be tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
Yeah.
We're talking the price of a Ferrari, just gone, lost to interest payments because you didn't optimize a 3-digit number.
That is terrifying. Okay, so let's demystify the score. What actually moves the needle?
It's simpler than you think. There are really 2 heavy hitters. First is payment history. That's about 35% of your score.
So just, did you pay on time?
Exactly. It's binary, yes or no. One missed payment is a disaster. It's like a stain on a white shirt. You set up auto pay, even for the minimum, so you never, ever miss.
Okay, rule number 1, never miss a payment. What's the second big one?
Credit utilization. This is about 30%. It's the ratio of how much debt you're carrying versus your total credit limit.
And this is where people get tripped up, right?
They do. Say you have a card with a $5,000 limit. If you have $4,500 on it, even if you plan to pay it off when the bureau takes a snapshot,
It looks bad.
it looks like you're maxed out, desperate. But if you have a $20,000 limit and spend that same $4,500, now your utilization is under 25%. You look responsible.
So counterintuitively, asking for a higher credit limit can actually help your score.
As long as you don't spend it, yes. It dilutes the debt.
Okay, this brings us to one of my favorite parts of the book, negotiation. Sethi talks about these Indian negotiating tactics, and he tells this hilarious story about his dad buying a car.
Oh, the floor mat story. It's a classic.
His dad spends 5 actual days grinding this dealer down on the price. They're arguing over pennies. They finally agree. Papers are on the desk.
Pen in hand.
And his dad says, okay, throw in the floor mats. The dealer says no.
And his dad.
He just stands up and walks out over floor mats.
5 days of work.
Ugh.
But the dealer chased him down and gave him the mats. It's extreme, maybe a little crazy, but it shows a mindset. Everything is negotiable. You should apply this to your credit card company.
Which most of us would never even think to do. We get a late fee and just pay it.
But he gives you the exact script. Say you missed a payment by accident, got a $35 fee. You call him up and say, hi, I noticed this fee. I've been a customer for 4 years, and I'd hate for this one mistake to drive me away. I'd like you to waive it.
The I'd hate to leave leverage.
Exactly. It costs them hundreds of dollars to get a new customer. Waiving a $35 fee to keep a loyal one is a no-brainer for them.
And if they say no,
You use the magic phrase, what else can you do to help me? You make them solve it. You'd be amazed how often they have a retention budget for this stuff.
what else can you do? I
Mhm.
love that. Puts the ball back in their court.
Yeah.
But there's a trap here, isn't there? We talk about optimizing, but it's easy to get obsessed.
Right. Sethi calls them rate chasers, the people with 15 different cards and a spreadsheet to decide which one to use for a sandwich.
I feel a little seen right now.
And it's not that it's bad, but it's often a distraction. You might squeeze out an extra $100 a year doing that, but the mental energy could have been used to negotiate a $10,000 raise.
It's optimizing for pennies and ignoring the dollars.
Hmm.
Good reality check. Okay, let's move on. Segment 2, beating the banks.
Right. Sethi compares the big traditional banks to a lazy Godzilla.
A lazy Godzilla. I love that. Just sitting there eating the city.
Exactly. They have you trapped because switching accounts feels like a hassle. So they pay you almost nothing in interest, maybe 0.01%.
And meanwhile, they're lending your money out at 5 or 7% and keeping the difference.
And inflation is eating 3 or 4% of your money's value every year. So if you keep your savings in a big bank account, you are mathematically losing money every day.
That's painful. So what's the solution?
High-interest online savings accounts. Because they don't have the overhead of, marble floors and thousands of tellers, they can pass those savings to you. We're talking interest rates that are often 10 to 20 times higher.
And what does the ideal setup look like?
It's a hub-and-spoke model. You keep a local checking account at a regular bank for convenience, for ATM access, but you keep almost no money there.
It's just a pass-through.
Exactly. You link it to a high-yield online savings account where your real savings actually sit and do work for you. It separates your spending money from your saving money, both physically and psychologically.
Okay, so we've got our credit-optimized banking setup. Now for the heavy hitter. Segment 3, investing, the ladder of personal finance.
And this is where we have to talk about the magic and the terror of compound interest. Sethi explains it with Smart Sally versus Dumb Dan.
Poor Dan always gets the short end of the stick. What'd he do wrong?
Well, let's look at Sally first. She starts investing at age 25. She puts away a modest amount for just 10 years until she's 35. Then she stops completely.
Okay, so she front-loaded it. And Dan,
Dumb Dan waits. He starts at 35, the same age Sally stopped, but he invests for 30 years all the way to 65. So he's investing for 3 times as long, putting in 3 times as much cash.
logic says Dan should have way more money.
But logic loses to compound interest. Sally wins, and it's not even close. She ends up with way more money because her money had 10 extra years to grow on itself.
That's mind-blowing. It really proves that waiting for the right time is the most expensive mistake you can make.
The best time was yesterday. The second best time is today. But then the question is, where do I put the money? Investing feels like this giant, scary thing.
Do I buy Tesla? Do I buy gold? What do I do?
Sethi breaks it down into a specific ladder, an order of operations. Step 1.
401k. Match.
If your employer offers it, you must contribute enough to get it. It's free money, a 100% return instantly. Nothing else can guarantee that.
Okay, grab the free money. Step 2.
Pay off high-interest debt, usually credit cards. I mean, if you're earning 8% in the market but paying 18% on a credit card,
You're losing.
you're bleeding out faster than you can heal. Stop the bleeding first.
Makes sense. Step 3.
The Roth IRA. This is a big one for Sethi.
Why the Roth specifically? Why not just put more in the 401k?
Taxes. With a traditional 401k, you get a tax break now, but you pay taxes when you take the money out. With a Roth, you pay taxes on the money now,
Okay.
but then it grows tax-free, and you can withdraw it tax-free in retirement.
So it's the difference between paying taxes on the seed versus paying taxes on the harvest.
That is a brilliant way to put it. You'd much rather pay tax on the tiny seed today than the giant harvest in 40 years.
Okay, so match, debt, Roth, then what?
Then you go back and try to max out your 401k. And if you still have money left over after all that, you open a standard non-retirement account.
Got it. But what about the actual assets? Sethi is pretty harsh on people who try to pick individual stocks.
He is. He basically says, you are not Warren Buffett, you will lose. He suggests target date funds or life cycle funds instead.
How do those work?
It's the set it and forget it solution. You plan to retire in 2055, so you buy a Target Retirement 2055 fund. Today, that fund is aggressive, mostly stocks. But as you get closer to 2055, it automatically rebalances to be safer.
So you don't have to sit there tweaking your portfolio every year.
Nope. You buy the fund and go live your life. It removes user error.
Okay, I love that. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Now, let's talk about the day-to-day. Segment 4, conscious spending. He calls it the anti-budget.
Which is great because traditional budgets almost always fail.
They do. It's like a crash diet. You say, I'm never eating carbs again, and 3 days later, you're face down in a pizza.
Yeah.
Budgets are the same. You track every penny, get depressed, and give up.
Yeah, that psychology of restriction just doesn't work long term. So he proposes a conscious spending plan. The difference is timing. Instead of looking backwards at where your money went, you put it into buckets before you spend it.
What are the buckets?
The guidelines are fixed costs should be 50 to 60% of your take-home pay. Investments, 10%. Savings goals, another 5 to 10%. And then, this is the key part, guilt-free spending gets 20 to 35%.
20 to 35%. That's a huge chunk. Most advice tries to get that number down to 0.
Right, but this is the rich life part. If you've hit your savings and investment numbers and the bills are paid, the math says you can spend that money on whatever you want, the $300 shoes. Go for it. You don't have to feel guilty.
But to make that work, you have to know the difference between being cheap and being frugal.
A vital distinction. Cheap is trying to cut costs on everything. It's arguing over 50 cents. It's a scarcity mindset. It's all about price.
Focusing on cost, not value. And being the person nobody wants to go to dinner with.
Exactly. Frugal is prioritizing. It's saying, I don't care about a fancy car, so I'll drive an old one, but I love food, so I'll spend big on a nice dinner. It's about value.
And he has some cool tactics for this, like the a la carte method for subscriptions.
Yes. We bleed money through all these $10 and $15 monthly charges. So he says cancel all of them. Netflix, the gym, magazines, and just buy what you need one-off.
Wait, cancel the gym?
Or just buy a day pass when you go. The psychology is the pain of paying. When you have to physically pay $15 for a gym pass, you feel it. You ask, do I really want this? With the subscription, that friction is gone.
That's really smart. And for the real trouble spots, he suggests the envelope system.
Old school, but it works. If you spend too much at bars, take out $200 in cash at the start of the month. Put it in an envelope. When it's empty, you're done.
It's a hard stop, a physical constraint.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have the plan. But we're humans. We're lazy. We'll forget to move the money.
Which brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. Segment 5, automation, or save while sleeping.
This is the holy grail. He basically says we have to protect us from ourselves.
He does. He says willpower is a depleting resource. If you have to decide to save money every month, eventually you'll fail. So you build a machine that makes the decision for you.
I love that. And you visualize the whole infrastructure. So it's the first of the month. Your paycheck hits. What happens?
Well, the first thing happened before it even hit. The 401k deduction came out. You never saw it.
So you don't miss it.
Then the net pay lands in your checking account. Immediately, like the same day, an automatic transfer moves money to your savings account and your Roth IRA.
So your savings goals are funded before you even pay rent.
Correct. Then automatic bill pay handles your fixed costs and whatever is left sitting in that checking account.
That's your guilt-free spending money.
That's it. You never have to ask, can I afford this? If the money's in the account, the system already ran. The answer is yes.
It's incredible. You basically spend, what, 3 hours a year on this once it's set up?
Yeah, you're the architect and the system is the builder.
So let's recap the journey. We started by optimizing credit. Then we fired the lazy Godzilla banks for high-yield savings.
We climbed the investment ladder, match, debt, Roth, 401k.
We set up a conscious spending plan that's about big wins, not cutting coupons.
And finally, we automated the whole thing so it runs while we sleep.
It sounds like a lot, but it's front-loaded work, which leads to his idea of the 85% solution. This is so important for the perfectionists listening.
Right. Too many people do nothing because they want to get it 100% right. They want the perfect asset allocation. And Sethi says getting it 85% right and just starting is infinitely better than waiting for perfection.
Analysis paralysis is a wealth killer.
It is. The goal isn't to be the smartest finance nerd. The goal is to be rich enough to live the life you want.
Which brings us to our closing thought, and it's a challenge for you. Ramit Sethi asks a question most of us never really answer. Why do you want to be rich?
It sounds so simple. But think about it. Most people just want more. But more what? Do you want to be rich to travel 4 months a year? Do you want to be rich to buy time hire, a cleaner so you never do chores again?
Or do you just really want those $300 jeans? And there's no wrong answer. That's the whole point. But if you don't define it, you'll just default to what society thinks you should do with your money.
You'll end up chasing a version of success that might not actually make you happy.
So the homework, if you're up for it, is to write down exactly what a rich life looks like to you personally. Ignore the neighbors, ignore Instagram. What does it look like for you?
Once you know that, the spending plan gets a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
Because you're not just saving money, you're funding your vision.
Perfectly said. It changes the game from restriction to possibility.
Yeah.
That's a wrap for this deep dive into I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Go check your credit utilization, set up an auto transfer, and for goodness sake, buy the latte if you love it. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.